Initial reactions from the scrimmage?
I think there's a lot of good things we're doing. Sometimes it's hard to measure things when you're going thud tempo. Obviously, we got a lot of really good players offensively. Eli Cummings is going to be a hell of a player for us this year. We got a lot of guys up front, Zoe, and all those guys that got experience. Linehan has experience, and then even the young guys up front, they're showing a lot of promise. So I'm excited about that group as well. Our young receivers have a lot of ability, okay, and I think they're going to be good players as well. Our tight ends are starting to come along. Quarterback position. We got a lot of young guys at that position as well. Those guys got to keep building and have experience, right? So the growing pains of spring ball, right? Often, I went through them as a player. I think they're going through them right now, right? You can kind of see that there's some struggles at times, and seeing the picture and stuff like that. But at this level, the speed is different, and when you haven't done it, you haven't done it. So the only way you're going to learn is continue to get reps. So. Those guys got they got a lot more in spring ball to continue to build off of. Okay? A couple guys that can bounce back from today, right? A couple guys that did some really good things today. So I'm excited about this offense going forward. I think we got a lot of good pieces, and we'll continue to build on this, on the positive, continue to fix what we need to fix, all right, as we finish out spring ball.
It looked like Joseph took a step forward today.
I think Nick is a really smart player. I think Nick sees the picture really well. I think he understands the game. He hasn't played a ton, but you can tell in his preparation. When we're in meetings, he picks up on things quickly. He always asks good questions. I think he understands the game at a high level, and that's what separates you. I think that's, you have a guy like that. It builds confidence in the rest of the offense, builds confidence in the coaching staff and the rest of the players, and I think he has a lot of respect from his teammates because of how well in command he is. So I think he's done a good job of that and shown that consistently as spring ball's gone on.
What did you make of his day with the ones today, and just overall how he looked?
I think it was solid. I think it was good. There's a lot of things that he needs to continue to work on, right? But I do think that there's a lot of promise in him, right, going forward. So as we continue to develop, right, continues to develop, I think mechanically is one of the number one things he's got to keep working on. Driving the ball, like those throws from hash to sideline, those are hard throws, but you got to be able to make them at this level. Continue to work on his mechanics, and I know he's working at it. So. He's going to continue to take steps. He's done a good job as spring ball's gone, but we have to finish, right? Same with those other quarterbacks as well.
Did he have anything to say to you, or did you have anything to say to him after he won that race to the corner?
No, I didn't actually talk to him there. We got to learn spiking the ball is going to be a penalty at this level. So, I think that's a good learning lesson we'll see on tape. I love the fire. He plays with a lot of emotion, and I think it's easy to gravitate towards that. So we'll talk about that on tape, but I do like he's playing with emotion, but knowing within the confines of the rules of the game.
Last week, Coach talked about the installation of the offense, how it wasn't fully there yet. How's that going? How's the progress going? And is it going well?
I think it's going really well. Sometimes it's harder to measure when you're going thud tempo, when you're kind of getting the short yardage and running the ball on first down. So I think as long as we're seeing what we need to see, open holes, open gaps, running backs making the right reads, which I think they're doing a good job. Coach Dunbar's doing a good job with them, and then Coach Ensley's doing a really good job with the O-line. And you can tell it's going to be there. So I feel confident about that, the installation that we have. We're going to continue to build on that, and as an offense constantly evolves, it looks one way in spring ball, it can look entirely different as you get throughout the season. So, I'm excited about that. I think we're establishing who we are as an offense, establishing our identity, and that's what spring ball's for. So, I think they're starting to pick up on what kind of team we're going to be going forward, and continue to build around the pieces we have.
Is Kinchlow a full-time running back now?
We kind of moved him over there as due to the running back needs. We've had a couple injuries, and he played running back in high school. You can see I was force feeding him today, so I felt confident that I could get him the rock a little bit. But I think he's kind of transitioning to be more of that running back, and then use him in some 21 personnel as kind of a fullback type, which is what he's done over the past couple of years. Kinchlow, he's exactly the kind of guy you want in the program. Takes a lot of pride in being a part of it, and wants to have a role. And I think he wants to help the team win. And I feel confident Kent we put him in the game to go execute, play physical, and that's the kind of play style he has.
With him and Thomas, you got some downhill runners.
Yeah. I mean, Nate Thomas has had a great spring. We know what Eli Cummings can do. He's been here and had great years in the past. Art Williams obviously has been dealing with an injury, so he hasn't been in contact. But he's had a great couple of games here in the past. Kinchlow, coming back, it's like riding a bike, right? So he played running back in high school. He's coming back, a position he's comfortable with. But I love how hard and physical those guys run. I think they're guys that set the tone up front, especially with the alignment we have, and guys that we can count on. Right, when it's time to get to the nitty gritty towards the end, we can count on those guys to come through for us. So I think that's important.
One more question.
Good.
Good, Pete.
You've been through 2/3 of the spring now. What are you seeing in this offense? How is this going to evolve over the summer? What are you going to be doing differently now that from when you started spring?
Well, I think we keep emphasizing physicality up front. I think that's been our most important emphasis, and I think we're doing a good job of that. Coach Ansley with that O-line is doing a good job, and I think Coach Powell with the receivers continue to stretch the ball downfield, get it in the hands of our playmakers. We got a good amount of playmakers on the outside. You see kind of on some of those short passes today, getting the ball in their hands and letting them go to work, and then feeding our backs. I think that's important, and continuing to develop our tight ends as well. Being able to utilize them in the run game, and then continue to build on them in the pass game. And Coach Cross is doing a good job with them as well. So really all facets of the game right now. Obviously continue to work with the quarterback position. I think you're seeing some development from a lot of guys in that room, and see what kind of guys are starting to have success as we go throughout spring ball, and the picture's starting to become more clear.